All right, let's jump right in. We're about to unpack a huge transformation that's shaking up one of the world's oldest industries. Today, we're exploring banking's massive leap into the cloud and AI, a move that's creating a whole new way of thinking about, well, you, the customer. So let's start with a big what if. What if banks could slash their operational costs? I mean, truly game-changing amounts. And at the exact same time, build a better, more personal, more intuitive experience for their customers. It sounds like you'd have to pick one, right? Like it's too good to be true.
Well, hold that thought, because this number is really at the heart of our whole story today. 99%. That's not a typo. That is the actual cost reduction that one major bank, Commerce Bank, achieved on a key service just by making this shift. Unbelievable, right? And look, this isn't science fiction. This is the new reality. It's powered by a radical shift in technology, sure, but just as importantly, a radical shift in thinking. So how on earth did they do it? And how are others following suit? Let's dive in and explore the playbook.
First things first, we need a little context. This isn't the first time technology has completely turned banking on its head. The change we're seeing right now is part of a much bigger pattern. But as we're about to see, this time is different, really different.
If you look back over the last 50 years or so, you can see about 5 big tech waves in banking. It kicked off with mainframes back in the 70s, then came distributed computing, then internet banking, and of course mobile banking. Each new wave hit roughly every 10 years. But now we're in the 5th wave, cloud and AI. And this isn't just another wave, it's more like a tsunami.
Okay, so what does this new wave actually look like when the rubber meets the road? Let's get into the how. We're going to walk through the cloud migration playbook, and we're going to pull out some key lessons from Commerce Bank's real-world journey.
Christian Gorke, who was one of the leaders of this effort at Commerce Bank, basically boiled down their entire experience into 3 massive learnings. Number 1, a strategy called lift and shift is only the very beginning. Number 2, the real prize, the real value, comes from moving to what are called higher abstraction layers. And number 3, the end goal isn't just a secure cloud, it's a trustworthy one. We're going to unpack each of these.
So what on earth is this lift and shift he's talking about? Well, to put it simply, it's taking an app that's running on your own servers in your own building and just moving it over to the cloud with as few changes as possible. You're basically lifting it from one place and shifting it to another. It's the most direct path to get started. But here is the absolute key, and this quote from Gorke just nails it. He calls it getting your toes into the water. It's a start, for sure, but it should never be the final step. Why? Because you're still basically managing things the old way. You're just doing it on someone else's computer. You haven't really unlocked the true power of the cloud yet.
And that brings us to the second and honestly probably the most important technical piece of this whole thing. If lift and shift is just dipping your toes in, how do you actually jump in the pool? The answer is by climbing what they call the ladder of abstraction.
This visual here just lays out the journey perfectly. When you're on-premise, you manage absolutely everything. Hardware, software, you name it. With lift and shift, you're a step up, but you're still managing virtual machines. The next rung is something like Kubernetes, where you're just managing groups of containers. But the very top of the ladder, that's serverless, and this is where the magic happens. You completely stop thinking about servers and infrastructure. All you care about is your code and your data. That's it. And the feeling of making that climb? It's not a small improvement. Listen to how Gorke described moving just one step up that ladder. He said it felt like they had traveled to a completely different planet, where everything was suddenly easier. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about the power of this concept. And this is where we come full circle back to that mind-blowing 99% number. This chart shows what happened when Commerce Bank took a single service, their TalkBot, and moved it to a serverless model. The cost just plummeted. Why? It's simple, really. With serverless, you only pay for the exact milliseconds your code is running. If no one's using it, the cost is literally zero. It just totally changes the economics. Okay, so the tech is incredible for saving money, we get that. But the real revolution, the thing that changes the entire industry, is when banks take all that new efficiency and use it to completely flip their philosophy. The technology makes it possible to finally shift from a bank-first world to a customer-first one.
For decades, banking has been product first. The bank built a product, a checking account, a mortgage, and then their job is to push it out and sell it to you. The new model flips that completely upside down. It starts with you. What do you actually need to do?
You need to deposit money, borrow money, make payments. The goal is to build technology that wraps itself seamlessly around those core human needs.
And the methodology they use to do this is called design thinking. Now, it sounds like a buzzword, but it's a really simple and powerful idea. Before you build anything, before you write a single line of code, you have to deeply, truly understand what the customer wants and needs. You build with empathy first.
And look, this isn't just theory, it's happening right now. You've got Sterling Bank building a brand new AI-ready core system from scratch. We've already talked about Commerce Bank using serverless tools to focus on data instead of servers. And you have companies like Intellect creating platforms that make these advanced tools available to everyone, from the biggest global banks to the smallest local credit unions.
So that brings us to the final and maybe the most advanced piece of this whole playbook. You've got the amazing technology, you've got the customer-first mindset, but how do you build something that people genuinely trust with their entire financial lives? This is the final frontier, and it goes way beyond just security.
Here's the difference, and it's a big one. A secure cloud is about technical controls, firewalls, and encryption. That's table stakes. A trustworthy cloud is a higher ideal. It's built on collaboration, on transparency, and most importantly, on giving the customer control. It's a shared fate, where the bank and its partners are all in it together to protect the customer.
And really, in the end, it all comes back to this quote. The technology is just the tool. The biggest, hardest, most important transformation is changing the way you think. It's having the courage to look at the old way of doing things, delete what no longer works, and start fresh on a new, plain canvas.
So there you have it. The playbook is surprisingly clear. Climb the ladder away from old tech, build everything around a customer-first philosophy, and create a foundation of real trust, not just security. The canvas is blank, and the tools are more powerful than they have ever been. So the only real question left is, how is your industry going to use it?